everyone, my name is Shelby and this is the YouTube series where I reveal what's inside these mystery pottery molds I found on Gumtree. This is part 10 of revealing these mystery molds and I can't believe we're at 10 already. Inside this one, it was filthy. It is so dirty. It has lots of cobwebs inside. So I had to obviously give this one a really thorough clean, but by the looks of things, they look like Christmas baubles, but like a 2D flat version, so not like a sphere version. So cleaning them up, I feel like they might be sort of like a coaster because of how flat they are, but they do look quite small that I don't think many drinks will fit on these, but we'll see how the shrinkage goes. But yeah, I think they're coasters. I don't know what else they could be because there's no indentation for a like hanger, so there's no like mark for you to hang it up. But I'm sure you could do that. Like I'm sure that that's something that you could do with them. But one says Happy Holidays and another says Holiday Cheer with some little holly in the center. So flipping it over for the rubber band, it actually says on it Christmas coaster and ashtray, 1975 Duncan Ceramics. So that's pretty interesting that I was pretty spot on. And before you ask, I don't look at the molds before I do them. These ones have been Christmas themed because I got my friend to go through them and find some Christmas ones just in time for the holiday season. So yeah, I was pretty surprised with myself. Sometimes they do have like the encryption on the side of what it's going to be, but when you pour it, it actually isn't what it says it is. Like it might just have a word that they used to use back in the 70s that describes something, but now we use a different word. Like for example, the elves I had in a previous mold were called flutterbys, and the definition for flutterby is not that, it's usually a baby butterfly. So that's just an example of like when it does have a title, it can be different to what is actually inside the mold or how we interpret what the labels are. And regardless of the labels, sometimes the mystery is not knowing exactly what it's going to look like. You might have a fair idea, but it's always a mystery. So I've poured that one up, I've emptied it out, and it's nice and dry for me to pull out. So I wriggle that top part of the mold off, and they look like coasters. So they are quite basic. They look like what they say they are, which is a really lovely surprise for once. Seeing something that is labelled really accurately, or the definition hasn't really changed for what these are. So one of them did get a little bit stuck in the mold, so I had to go in and sort of cut that pouring spout out and give it a wriggle and push it out. I poured I think 3 sets of these in the end, but it was only the first one that got stuck. So I wonder whether it was because it hadn't been used in a while, or maybe there was some dust that had collected on it that it got sort of caught on that and didn't separate. I'm not really sure, but it only happened to the first one, but I managed to get it out without damaging it anyway. And I decided to do 3 lots because I wanted to try 3 different things and have a couple of sets so that I could gift some for Christmas as well. Now I'm just showing this part because it's quite satisfying, pushing that excess clay out of the hole. But yeah, they're really sweet. You can see a bit of that dust on the clay. That dust will burn out in the firing. So I bisque set a few of these so that I could just do a really lovely glaze over the top. I'm just trying to keep them really simple because the design is quite modern. Surprisingly, for something in 1975, these are really stylish now. So I'm going in with the green glaze, and it's like a speckled green glaze, so it should have a bit of texture in it. And I'm also going in with the closest color I have to red. I hate red as a rule. I don't use it often, so I'm going in with like a dark pink. It should be like a really raspberry vibrant color. So for those ones, I put those in the glaze fire, and then I work on some other ones. So on these ones, I'm doing like a floral backdrop. So I'm just going to do like a patterned flower look. So with lots of different sort of 5-6 petaled flowers, just layered and layered to make it a pattern. And then I'm going to glaze the letters in a different color to sort of make it sort of blend, but kind of stand on its own. So in I go with those flower details. And so I've done like a pink, purple, orange, yellow color palette. But as I started to add them, I was like, this is looking cute. I'm liking it. I've never done anything like this before. It's a new experiment because I've never done something where I've glazed some parts and left some bits unglazed. So that's why I wanted to try it. But as I added all the colors, it looks like camo. It looks like I've done like a pink camo pattern, but that's fine. We learn things. So I'm going around the outskirts with a pink glaze, and I do the letters the same color, and hopefully that will be a nice sort of like crystally, not crystal, but like a clear, shiny holiday cheer and on those letters, and also around the outside, and then the other part is left unglazed. So there's a good look at it before I put it through the kiln. So before I mentioned I did the glaze of 2 of the coasters, so I popped them in the kiln, and usually I put the flat things on the top shelf so that it prevents bowing. I've just read that it's better for the heat distribution to put flat things on the top. And then once they are done, I get my gold luster out. So gold luster is something you can put on your pieces after a glaze firing, and it's like an enamel, I don't know what to call it. It's kind of like a extra firing that you do on your pieces, so you can get lots of different types of lusters and sort of enamel firing stuff, but I've only got the gold for now. But where you paint it is where it will turn to gold, so it looks like red, and it's mine's kind of hard to paint on because it actually got really cold, so you're not meant to really do it in cold weather, you're meant to do it in sort of a warmer weather. So I painted that one up, and I did just the holidays, like the wording and the little details, so the little holly and the stars. So with gold luster, I have read online that it pretty much adapts to whatever surface it's on, so I'm painting on a glossy surface, so the gold luster will then come out shiny. I haven't tried it on any other kind of surfaces, but I would like to try it one day. Regardless of what you're doing with a luster, if you're using it, you do need to protect yourself. Luster is highly toxic, it is very fumey, and it can cause headaches. So you need to make sure that you're wearing an appropriate mask. And when I fire my gold luster, I put it on at the evening when I'm not in my space, because even though it might be in the kiln is still creating temperatures that react with the toxin that then create fumes in your space. So if you can't avoid working in your space at the same time as a luster firing, you need to make sure that you've at least got adequate ventilation, so that you're not causing yourself any health risks, because we want you to be happy and healthy, right? So yeah, wear a mask is all I'm getting at, and make sure that you've got the appropriate health and safety sort of set up for what suits you in your studio. So this kiln firing is usually around 700 degrees, the 700 degree mark. It just depends on what clay and materials you're using as to what cone you do and what temperature it reaches. So you pop that one through, and it usually takes a couple of hours. It's not as big as a normal firing. And then when you get it out, it looks like this. They are so glitzy and have so much pizzazz. It has elevated this design to another level. I really like the raised lettering and design, but adding the gold just highlights it so much more and really makes it more festive, I feel. And watching that transformation of the red turn to gold is so satisfying. I really am happy with this result. On the other half, this is what it looks like without the gold, and here are the other designs I worked on. I don't love them as much because of that camouflage detail, but I do like how that glaze worked to sort of shine, put a bit of shine on the lettering and the outside. But yeah, I think these would look really great on a Christmas table, depending on your styling, and they fit teacups perfectly. The green one in this shot is a bit bigger than the pink one, so the small one fits a teacup, so I believe that the green one will fit a nice size mug as well. What do you think? Make sure to let me know in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe.